for watching Capital City News, your connection to Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Poonam Kumar. Today I'm down at Salt Lake City's newest model airport, where people are gathered to see model airplanes take flight. For this episode of Capital City News, we'll be talking to Salt Lake City Police Chief Mike Brown about holiday safety tips. And our History Minute is about the first theater in Salt Lake City. But first, let's start with our legislative update and look back. At its November 1st meeting, the council heard from several supporters of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe in North Dakota and the tribe's opposition to the Dakota Access Pipeline. On November 15th, the council will consider a resolution to express their support. The council also adopted an extension for the impact fee moratorium until new prices go into effect. Impact fees are one-time fees paid by developers who construct new buildings in Salt Lake that are used to help cover growth-driven costs of providing public services to residents. The Salt Lake City Homeless Services Site Evaluation Commission announced a timeline for final stages of the site selection of 4 new homeless resource centers in Salt Lake City. City leaders will announce homeless shelter sites on November 21st, followed by a series of public engagement workshops to gather critical feedback on designs and discuss mitigation for potential community impacts. Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski, joined by members of the community, proclaimed November as Native American Heritage Month in Salt Lake City. District 3 Council member Stan Penfold sat down with residents over coffee and pastries last month to listen to new ideas on how to improve the community. Make your voice heard. Visit slccouncil.com for more information about meetups with your council member. The Salt Lake City Parks Department launched its new model airport with Mayor Jackie Biskupski and URC Association President Aaron Greer. An inaugural flight ceremony showcased model airplanes and the new runway space for hobbyists. The airport will open for future public air shows. The holiday season is upon us, and unfortunately, so is theft and crime. Salt Lake City Police Chief Mike Brown is here to share safety and crime prevention tips for a happy and safe holiday season.
You know, today I'd like to talk a little bit about winter tips as far as warming up your car and the danger of doing that. It not only is to warm your car up during the winter months is very hazardous to the air quality that we experience here in the Wasatch Front with the inversions, but it can also be very costly when you go out to find your car and it's gone. Many times throughout the winter months, thieves prey upon people who warm up their cars. And when they exit their home to a warm car, they find that they have a cold spot where their car used to be. Well, you know, there really isn't. Number one, think about the air quality. Number two, put your jacket on, put some gloves on, start your car, and let it warm up for just a minute while you're in it, and then drive to your destination. It'll warm up quick enough and probably faster as you're driving. In fact, I remember hearing a study last year that said the newer cars don't need very much warm-up time at all. In fact, you can start them and proceed to drive them immediately. With winter driving comes many crashes, and what people need to realize is that the roads are slick. You can't stop as fast. You can't turn as well. And so as we head into the winter months, just drive a little slower, be a little more cautious as you drive through snow or ice. And what can be even worse is the black ice that you don't see. When the temperatures are cold or well below freezing, it's cold enough to freeze the surface of the road, which can cause the same as driving on snow. So as we head into the holiday season, people get very busy going store to store and buying gifts and different things. And a lot of times as they go, they'll just put their gifts and packages inside the car and not really think about who is walking around the parking lots looking for an open car or perhaps to break a window and steal what you may have inside. So with that being said, take a minute and put it and secure it in the trunk where it can't be seen. It's just a much safer way to go through the holiday season as you go and shop for your loved ones. So from the Salt Lake City Police Department to everyone, have a very safe and enjoyable holiday seasons. And for more safety tips, please go to slcpd.com or Twitter at slcpd. Have a safe and enjoyable holidays.
And now it's time for our History Minute.
Brigham Young once remarked, "If I were placed on a cannibal island and given a task of civilizing its people, I should straightaway build a theater." And that is exactly why one of the first major buildings the pioneers constructed was the Salt Lake Theater. Built in 1861 on the northeast corner of State Street and First South, the theater could hold as many as 1,500 people, more than 10% of the population of the city at the time. It was fashioned in the style of European opera houses, and was, for a long time, the most lavish building in the city. In the early days of the theater, local actors put on plays, usually Shakespeare or some contemporary melodrama. The theater evolved, though, and took on more and more touring acts. Indeed, every major act in the country would make a stop at the palatial Salt Lake Theater, whether they put on plays or not. From Buffalo Bill Cody, Oscar Wilde and the Barrymores, to P.T. Barnum and Al Jolson, they all entertained the populace. The theater lasted through the 1920s, when a fierce battle over its preservation erupted in the city. Church President Heber J. Grant wished to close the building, while the Daughters of the Utah Pioneers fought to preserve it. In the end, Grant won out and the building came down by the end of the decade. And small acts of preservation were made, though. The Daughters of the Utah Pioneers Museum was built with the same architectural footprint as the theater, and today it still holds relics of it, including Brigham Young's box seats.
That's it for this episode of Capital City News, where we do our best to keep you in the know. Thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you next time. For SLC TV, I'm Poonam Kumar.